Before I go to bed, I literally go through, who did I get to interact with today? Not what did I do? Who did I get to interact with today? Every day is an opportunity to connect with people. Every interaction is an opportunity to create positive ripples. And I go through, who did I get to interact with today? I don't think about, we made this, we did that. It's not that. It's just that there's people that have the opportunity to breathe more life into.
That's a big why, I think, for everybody in this project, is feeling and watching the dissonance and disconnection come into this harmony of like, we've done it, we've connected, we've seen each other, we've seen this person shift, and we've honestly all shown up to be of service and do work by showing up here and listening and connecting. And that alone is like 99% of the work. And then after that, we have some things we focus on, like food and environmentalism. But I mean, if you think about the high schoolers on a big picture level, like, what is it that makes them, why is this so helpful for them? And it's probably just that. It's that, like, oh, I'm not alone in solving these problems. Maybe the problems aren't even as big of a deal as I made it. I was just starving for connection and feeling coherent with other people, feeling in harmony with other people. And maybe it's through shared distress about the world, or maybe it's through anything that can get people to recognize that they are resonating together, you know? I've showed that video a couple times, the pendulums all swinging differently, right? And then they come into harmony because of the board that they're all connected by, and the ability for that board to slightly move together.
While you're pulling that up, Wyatt, the phrase that's coming to mind, in service of change, together as one. Just what? This is nuts.
Wait, we got one more guy. There he goes.
And so because it moves, like, because the board can move.
Because the board has structure and mobility. So the board connects them. And honestly, like, to me, I think this is what Henrik is getting at with the holding of space.
We're three different pendulums that might come into an Onora anything and feel like we're on our own trying to figure shit out. Now, not realizing, though, that we're actually all on the same board. I mean, we end up getting in sync and flowing. You get a bunch of people that all think, oh, my business is so tough. How am I doing this? Like, it's so anxiety. How do I do marketing? And how do I do all this stuff? We're all on the same team here. You're not on your own swinging. We're all on the same team. Now, what are we working toward together? That's the why. Like, to me, that's the why. Like, the why are we doing what we're doing at its core of why at its core are we doing what we're doing? And now with that clarity of that structure, now allow us to move and oscillate, and we'll get into the sync that we're meant to get into as a business. But you're not doing that on your own. You're doing that in collaboration while talking with others.
And there's one caveat in this analogy, and that is that every one of those pendulums has to be moving at the same frequency. They have to be on the same wavelength. They're just out of phase with each other. So there's something important about attracting your tribe, knowing your niche of people who can possibly operate at that frequency, and they may be out of phase and not part of the group. Only when everyone is at the same frequency can they come into the same phase. This is the core values that we kind of tried to assess, is what people are operating essentially at the same frequency, but out of phase. There are different information that they're working with. Some people are concerned about politics. Some people are concerned about the environment. Some people are built about structures, but they're all operating from this core fundamental frequency that I think is distilled into some of these values that we share. You have to find at least one shared frequency in order to bring everyone into phase on that. I mean, it will help Honora's business so much to know who is going to come into sync and find that this kind of space that's being held is like supportive, that they're not alone in being in this frequency, but you do need to know who's kind of operating there in order for that to be helpful for them. And then, I mean, then you can start advertising to people. You can start making invitations that you're like, I already know it's going to work for you and not for you. And you, I mean, you fundamentally kind of know that, like, you're not going after Shell Corporation for their oil money. There's a couple things here. It's finding people who are in frequency. Maybe it's shared values. Find people with shared, more fundamental values, and then creating the connection, which is the board, and having that connection be forgiving and mobile, which is kind of the half-baked cookie aspect of it. People are allowed to contribute to it. They can move the structure, but the structure is a structure, to understand that you're contributing to synchronizing with each other each time. And nobody is the big pendulum, everybody is, it doesn't work like that.